Welcome to Design Stand-Up, episode 29, The Designer and Company Disconnect, and How to Tame a Bullshitter, by Tobias Schneider of Desk. And I'm your host, Ryan Stone, reading to you every Tuesday and Thursday from the best blogs in the design industry, with their permission, of course. It's kind of like a free ongoing audiobook, always being updated with new content from your favorite designers. Whether you are a seasoned design professional or simply a design enthusiast, I am on a mission to help grow your knowledge in all things digital design. I hope you're ready for some heated discussion today. Tobias tells us his theories for the large disconnect between designers and companies in today's hiring market, and 5 tips for handling that office bullshitter. So without further ado, let's stand up. The Designer and Company Disconnect, by Tobias Schneider of Desk. Most companies I talk to are desperately looking to hire good designers, and most designers I talk to are desperately looking for work. Somewhere, there's a breakdown happening. Recently, I read that 82% of executives of Fortune 500 companies believe they don't recruit highly talented people. At the same time, 73% of workers are disengaged and thinking of getting another job. I have a few theories about why this is happening, at least as it relates to the creative industry. Theory number 1. Too high expectations from companies. These days, companies want the unicorn designer with design skills, coding skills, video skills, photography skills, and so on. The reality is that many designers are highly skilled in one area and proficient in the rest. That doesn't mean they can't do it all. It's becoming easier and more natural to grow these secondary skills, but it's likely that they don't do everything as well as their main skill. In the end, while they try to acquire new skills and fill every role as an all-star designer, they have fewer opportunities to shine in what they do best. Great talent is scarce. I may be guilty of having unrealistic expectations of myself, or maybe these expectations are fair, but as a McKinsey & Company study suggests, we are at a shortage of highly talented people. When hiring a designer, I look for a balance of hard skills, plus taste, plus strategic thinking. Most designers check 1 or 2 requirements, but lack the third. The designer may have the hard skills to take a project from start to finish, but lack strategic and holistic thinking, meaning they're only good at what they do when they're told exactly what to do. Other designers may be able to think strategically, but aren't able to execute on it, making them worthless for a company that needs a hands-on team. Perhaps we are indeed holding designers to an unrealistic standard, asking one person to fulfill many requirements. Or maybe those designers exist, there just aren't many of them out there, and the ones that do exist are part of the 27% who are happily employed. Theory number 2, the do-what-you-love mentality. These days, we are led to believe the perfect job exists. You know, the one where we love our work so much, we don't work a day in our life. The one that makes us spring out of bed each morning, throw open the windows, and sing like a character in a musical. I'm all for doing work that fulfills me, but I think we as employees have the wrong understanding of what this means. I also see companies making promises to fulfill these expectations when they're trying to recruit a designer. So when it turns out that job we dreamed about doesn't constantly excite us at every turn, we lose motivation and feel disengaged. I love my job, and there are some days I feel ecstatic about it, but those days are few and far between. Other days, I'm just doing the work. And yes, it feels like work. Work that fulfills me, but work nonetheless. If the do-what-you-love doctrine is taken to an extreme, we are all losing. We may start to dread our perfectly fine job and believe the grass is always greener on the other side. It's a matter of expectations, once again. Theory number 3, too much process, too little bravery. Some companies are so bogged down with process, the room for creativity is slim. Thus, designers don't have the opportunity to flex their creative strength, and companies don't see the best possible work. The result is disappointing companies and stifled, bitter employees. Process used to be a tool we used to get better at creative work, to make the work we are meant to do more efficient. Process is a means to an end, but at some point, process became something companies not only treated as a religion, but also an asset they could sell to clients. When process is the end goal itself, it unsurprisingly leads to frustration. Theory number 4. Companies don't know what they need or want. For example, most companies now think they need a UX designer, but some barely understand what a UX designer actually does. Meanwhile, most designers are calling themselves UX designers now because it's what gets them the job. So a company hires what seems right, the designer applies for what seems right, and both are clueless about what is actually needed. In some cases, a recruiter may be copy and pasting job descriptions without understanding what they are asking for or how that position fits into their company. All scenarios result in unhappy companies and unhappy designers. And theory number 5, designers have skills but lack professional capabilities. In our How to Get a Job at X series, the most wanted secondary skill besides design, by far, is communication. It's possible designers are talented, they're just not communicating their designs and themselves well. A designer could do the best work, but if they aren't able to present it well or sell it to stakeholders, i.e. the team, clients, etc., their work becomes useless. This means a company may hire an outstanding designer purely judging from their portfolio, only to discover that nothing gets done. Conclusion. As I mentioned, these are all just theories. The problem may be deeper or more complex than this, or a combination of these issues. In any case, I still see these problems to be true within our industry. Fixing them requires better education on every side, a leveling of our expectations, and a simple effort to do better. How to Tame a Bullshitter by Tobias Schneider of Desk. We've all known this person at work. The one who speaks buzzword as a first language. The person who talks in circles until we agree with them just to end the conversation. The one who has the clients nodding and your teammates worshiping at their feet without actually doing much of anything. The one who infuriates and somehow intimidates us because sometimes we wonder if they might actually be as superior as they think they are. If you don't know this person, it's possible you are that person. If you do know this person, you are likely annoyed by how much they consume your thoughts. But as long as companies exist, so will the bullshitter. So it's time we learned how to handle them. Look beyond the bullshit. I've read that most mean people are actually mean at their core. They're anxious. A bullshitter isn't necessarily mean, but I suspect the same rule applies here. Someone who feels the need to boast or speak in impressive terms is overcompensating for anxiety. A person who is confident in their knowledge doesn't feel the need to prove anything. But someone who's unsure and insecure doesn't have that privilege. Recognizing this gives me more empathy and patience for a bullshitter. We all have our anxieties. This is how they are dealing with theirs. Rephrase and repeat it back. When a bullshitter rattles off some unintelligible line you can't begin to understand, repeat it back to them. Allow them to hear how their words sound coming from someone else. Don't do this in a mocking way. Simply restate the sentence to clarify it. Or if you can't make sense of any of it, try your best guess in your own words. Never make assumptions for fear of looking stupid. Don't let a person talk you in circles. Instead, keep the communication open and moving forward. In contrast to the bullshitter, become the person in the office known for being straightforward and honest. Find perspective. The bullshitter may want you to believe they have a leg up, but chances are if you smell bullshit, others do too. Even if they've got everyone fooled and the boss eating out of their hand, observe the bullshitter and you will see confusion and chaos usually follow them. People may try to play their game, but it's a complicated one, with no real rules. That doesn't mean you should start a whisper campaign against this person, but remembering this truth can give you peace and perspective. Learn from them. You have to give some credit to the bullshitter. They are so self-assured, or at least appear to be, that it often plays in their favor. People are drawn to confidence and tend to trust it, even when there's nothing to back it up. As creative people, we need to have some level of blind confidence in ourselves and our work. The competition is so great and the standard is so high, we would give in to imposter syndrome and comparison otherwise. Blind confidence allows us to get out of bed in the morning and create, to take on challenges we might not even be qualified to do, to learn how to do them. Take a tip from the bullshitter and lean into the blind confidence just a little bit. You can still be self-aware and humble as you do so, but a little bit of foolish faith in yourself is healthy. But a little bit of foolish faith in yourself is totally healthy. Ask the simple question we all want to ask. When in doubt, simply ask the bullshitter, "What do you mean?" It's unlikely this person hears that question often, and it may stop them in their tracks. Most of us pretend we understand even when we don't, which only causes miscommunication and problems later. Gently and kindly ask the person to explain themselves. Simple as that. Conclusion. For the most part, we can't control how other people behave at work. We can control the way we respond to them. Instead of fuming and internalizing, remember that the bullshitter, as much as they'd like you to believe otherwise, is a flawed person just like the rest of us. You just listened to the post titled The Designer and Company Disconnect and How to Tame a Bullshitter by Tobias Schneider of Desk. If you want to learn more about Tobias and read some of his other amazing design articles, just press the link in the show notes below or head over to desk@vanschneider.com/blog. Oh, and hey, if you enjoy the show, make sure to head over to Apple or Google Podcasts and leave a quick rating or review. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the show and any feedback you might have, so I can continue to grow your knowledge in all things digital design. Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. It's been a pleasure. Until next time, fill up those coffees, turn up those tunes, and let's design a better world.